Hello there, friends. Welcome back to In the Quiet with Steffa Bennett. I'm so happy to be here with you today and taking you into another 5 minutes of discussion about contemplative prayer and meditation, Christian meditation. Last time we left off talking about Lectio Divina, that Latin phrase that means divine reading. Today I want to talk for just a couple of minutes about contemplative prayer, which is a bit different. Contemplation is a type of what we would call wordless prayer. It helps us connect with God. Some would say commune with God or experience union with God. However you like to talk about it, contemplation or the contemplative practice in our life helps us to connect with Him and commune with Him. The word that I like to use is simply dwell. In the scripture, the word dwell or abide means to be with and to sink deeply into. In contemplative prayer, we dwell with God in the quiet. And His awesome presence can feel a little intimidating. Like, wait, how can I really be so bold as to get into the presence of God, to really dwell with God in His presence, in His holy presence? Well, that's part of the good news, which I'm not going to preach right now, but that is part of the good news, that God gives us access to Himself through Jesus Christ. There is a mediator between God and humans, and it's Jesus. And the work that God did through Jesus enables us to come into His presence, to have access to Him. Contemplation is prayer that's different from discursive prayer. It flows from a different place, where discursive prayer is more of a reasoned or logical kind of prayer. Similar to a supplication where we're asking for something. We're asking God to do something for us or meet us in our need. It's not like the more formal prayers in our various traditions aren't important. They are very important. All kinds of prayer are very important, like the Our Father, the Lord's Prayer, that Jesus taught His disciples. But in contemplative prayer, the goal is something different. We do something different. What we do in contemplation is we create space. We create space for us to come to the Lord like a little child, to kind of take off our top hat and formal jacket and remember once again that this person that we are with all of these responsibilities and adult duties, truly underneath all of that is still a child of the living God. So we come like a child in contemplation, and we connect with the Lord, or we commune with Him. And it's there as a child, like a child, that we receive Him. We are more receptive. It's a more passive kind of prayer than the other kinds of prayer. We receive the presence of the Lord, and we begin to notice more distinctly our dependence upon Him. You may say, I always know that I'm dependent upon the Lord, Stephanie. I know that. True. It's one thing to know something intellectually, but then to walk it out and know it deeply is a different thing. And contemplation helps create a space for this knowing. It helps create a space for us to remember how dependent upon Him that we are. Again, like last time, it's different than Lectio Divina, the divine reading where we read the scriptures and then spend time in the quiet reflecting upon those scriptures, looking for meaning and insight. That's not really what happens in contemplation. But as we embrace the silence, we open ourselves in a bigger way, a grander way, and conversely, in a more humble way, we open ourselves to whatever the Lord might want to speak into our life, to breathe into our life. Now, you may say, wow, I've never tried this, and it sounds wonderful. But the idea of spending time in silence, if you try it more than 30 seconds or a minute, you might be tempted, as most of us are, to just get up and run away from that, because the silence kind of acts in some way as almost like an agent of a stripping agent, if you will, kind of like something that would take varnish off of a heavily shellacked old dresser, and then take the next layer of paint off, and then the next layer of paint. Silence has a way of stripping us to get down to the nitty gritty, get down to the kind of core rawness in our soul. And so if you haven't visited that place in a while, if we haven't gone there in a while, it can be fearsome. It can be a scary place to go. What do we do with that silence? But if we embrace it and we keep returning to it, something begins to shift. And it's a good thing that begins to shift. It's almost like how I picture in my mind the stone that was rolled away on Resurrection Day from Jesus' tomb. That the earth shifted, the stone moved, and something begins to happen. There's like, have you ever felt sometimes there's like a stone that hides your heart? It covers you up. I have felt that way. And in the prayer of silence, in contemplative prayer, as we return to it again and again, and don't run away from the quiet, it's as if we're rewarded with this wonderful presence of the Lord. It allows us kind of a sustained, deepening, ever deepening awareness of the presence of God. And for me, that has meant renewal and revitalization and healing and joy and ability to forgive and all kinds of things that in and of myself, with that stone there hiding my heart, I have been unable to do. But returning again and again to the prayer of silence and practicing, cultivating that practice of contemplation, that's some of the fruit of it. So I encourage you to come with me into the quiet and start this practice yourself. And we'll talk about it more. And until next time, have a great day. Bye now.